Let's start with you, Andrew.
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of make something clear from the outset because people might get the wrong idea that this is a 2v2 debate because Destiny and Erudite will probably agree on most things. Me and Grace basically agree on nothing, and she's not on my team, and I'm not doing a team debate with Grace. Essentially, she sucks in every category and can't debate worth a shit. So she's not on my team. I just wanted to make that clear right from the outset. I didn't want there to be any confusion about that at all. So over to the topic. We're starting with which topic do women? What's the topic, Alex? I'm sorry. I just want to make sure.
I heard women's happiness declined so much in recent years, and what's the solution? And just to quickly, because some people are saying, well, men's happiness has declined as well. Yes, but there's been a kind of for a while, men were less happy on women than average, and you've seen that female happiness decline more rapidly than male happiness, and now to point women on average are less happy than men. So the question is really, why is women's happiness declining more significantly than men's happiness?
Well, it's a combination problem. So I would say that a big indicator is social issues. The biggest social issues being a lack of family and a lack of pregnancy and a lack of children. I think that children is a pinnacle part of women's happiness. We see that the birth rate is on a massive decline and has been on a massive decline for the entirety of my lifetime. And before that, it's actually been on the decline since about 1800, but it's not really dipped below replacement levels. So I would say that it's a lack of family element and the social dynamic that comes with the family element. That is one of the primary causes for the increase in mental illness in women specifically, though I think there's more factors than that. I would point to that first as being a good indicator.
All right, cool. Let's move on to Kyla.
Yeah, it sounds like in general, it looks like it's not just women's happiness that's decreasing. It looks like people's happiness across the board and like particularly wealthy countries is decreasing. And so like the factors that are contributing to both of these things is probably super complex. Probably most of the factors are non-gendered. And depending on the study that you're looking at, there's going to be different takes on whether they're like what happiness is measured, and like women are experiencing higher levels of like mental health than men are, but they're also experiencing like greater levels of like life satisfaction. So it's a really, really complicated picture. I don't think it's as simple as like women are just less happy right now than ever before.
Let me just quickly, I do agree there's multiple research on this. Just for the audience, let me pull up like a little chart that I think can kind of give some sense to this. So this is talking about life satisfaction in the United States. According to a poll, and you can see that it's gone down for both genders, right? But something interesting happened at, I guess, in like the early 90s. Women's happiness dropped off lower than men's, and now they're both rebounding a little bit. Although if we go to 2023, it's actually been going down again. But basically, for the last 20 years or so, women have been, on average, according to a lot of polls, less happy than men. But yeah, I mean, you could also disagree with the premise, for example. It's also an option too. All right, let's go to Destiny.
Yeah, I feel like happiness is an issue that we're all kind of dealing with right now. I think the internet has dramatically changed the way we engage with the world. I think that making it like ultra gendered, I think misses kind of what's actually happening. And I don't know if it's like an empirical fact that people that have families are happier because they had families and they wouldn't have been happier otherwise. That idea seems to be pushed a lot by kind of trad people that like, oh, if we all just went back to some lifestyle that we're never going back to, it would suddenly fix like all of society's ills. And I don't think that would be true for almost anything, especially any particular person's happiness.
Cool. All right, Grace, you're up.
If you want to see why women are unhappy, you have to admit to the fact that women are contingent on men. And if you, for example, look at the men on this panel, this is what we as women are afforded as partners. You have Andrew sitting in an office building of some sort. I don't know if that's his green screen. Terrified of a 20-year-old girl married to a extremely masculine woman who shoots guns and lifts weights and is a fake traditional guy. Then you have guys like Destiny, the liberal cuck who is fine with his woman fucking other men. If this is the pinnacle of partners that are available to women these days, and women are contingent on men for support and guidance, I don't see why we wouldn't be unhappy. You also have female role models like Kyla, who has a pet for a husband and is extremely masculine and aggressive. That's
yeah, but you're your dad, so
This debate is
You're a
going on.
Christian. You're a Christian. That's slander. That's slander. You said yourself.
Just say it. Just say it.
You said yourself to me in DMs that you didn't believe any of that.
Yeah, but if you're going to make the debate
would you
about
say
ad
that?
homs, if you're going to make the debate about ad homs and you're going to derail the whole thing so we can't even have a conversation, then just leave. You're just worthless. You're worthless to the whole debate.
It's not an ad hominem. It's an example. You are an example.
Yeah,
of
I'm not. I don't
failure
give a
of
fuck about Destiny's sex life. I'm here to debate some issues. That's what I want to do.
You are an example of why women are unhappy. You're an awful person to be.
Oh yeah, the
married
married
to.
man with 5 kids. I get it.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
You are fake
versus
traditional
the
man.
20-year-old who faked an incest scandal. Right. You're the pinnacle of morality. Unreal.
Both you and Destiny are terrified of me, a 20-year-old girl, and you both said that you would never speak to us or platform us.
You remember that
publicly
last
again.
time we debated and you sent me a message saying that you got your ass kicked? Because that's about to happen again.
Okay, go ahead. You're an example of what awful men are available to women these days. You're the traditional side of it. Both of you suck.
Okay, Destiny, you want to respond to that?
I don't know how to talk to a 20-year-old's evaluation of my life or my relationships. I don't even know where I would begin to like
Defend your
can't think of-
marriage, Destiny.
I
Come
can't
on,
think of
let's go.
somebody whose opinion I would care less about. Like this chick started smoking at 16 and is like the replacement mom for her family with an abusive father. I don't know what I'm supposed to take in terms of. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me that she thinks that men in life suck when her primary father figure is also her like boyfriend / like abuser. So
I didn't mention him. I think he's a great guy.
of course you do.
Yeah. You let your other men. Are you an example of somebody who should be trusted, who women should trust?
I mean, you let your dad f the women, so
My dad has nothing to do with it. Why are you so obsessed with him? My dad has nothing to do with it. You notice how I didn't bring him up and both of you bring him up?
Stop. It was fun in the beginning. I do want to bring it back on track. I do enjoy the petty ad hominem battles, but let's bring it back on track to the initial topic.
Cool. Can we start with getting an argument from Grace?
That is my argument, that men like you are the people debating for or against what women need when you clearly have no idea. You're incompetent losers. That's my argument.
based.
Go ahead.
Well, yeah, you haven't made an argument, Grace.
Look at yourself, Andrew. That's my argument.
That's your
You're
argument,
obviously
Grace?
deeply unhappy.
Your argument
You-
is look at yourself
Yes,
because you're
yes.
obviously deeply
Look
unhappy.
at yourself. You have a green screen. You chose to be like in an office basement. Or if that's really where you are, that's incredibly depressing.
That's my,
You
my,
are a fake
my block
man. You
stick
talk
house.
about
What?
homosexuality constantly.
Uh-huh.
You're aggressive and rude. You smoke and drink like a fish.
Yeah.
What's like?
Wait,
yeah,
are fish
take a look in the
smoking
mirror.
Is that true?
There's a lot of fish that are like known for like their nicotine intake.
I mean, I definitely smoke and drink. That's true. That's like what
I think
every
crawfish.
good. That's what every good Orthodox Christian does. Grace, you didn't know that? And by the way,
She
that's
does,
what
because
good
her dad smoked and
that's what
drinks as well,
good
right?
Catholics do too. Grace, like your
Don't
dad
you
who
take
smokes and
smoke?
drinks.
Wait, you smoke, Grace?
Yes,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
And drinks.
Why are we talking about any of this?
So what?
So what's
He's
your
a grown
argument? Can you give us an argument that's not like because you guys are bad, because Destiny and Andrew evil? Can you give us an argument external to that, or no? Is your
No.
whole argument just no? Okay.
You have no right to speak on this. You have no idea what makes women happy. You're an insecure fake male, and so is Destiny.
Damn.
You're both terrified of me. Why should I trust two men who have said they're terrified of me and avoid me on every platform they go? And Destiny tells other people they can't interact with me or he's going to ban them. I'm supposed to respect that as a man? As a man, I'm 20 years old.
Mhm.
Well, to be fair,
From
Destiny,
either of you? From either of you? What did I ever do? What did I ever do?
to be fair, both Destiny and Andrew agreed to come on this panel knowing you were
Well,
not
well,
here. There was no
like let's see,
Yeah, they
let's see.
finally show their scared little faces.
Why wouldn't
just
we
gotta
want to?
say,
Why wouldn't we want to
urinate
platform a
up
person who
good, okay?
derails
Men
who
down
derails
bad.
every single debate and conversation into her own petty family drama? Why would anybody not want to do that
I'm
when
not the
we're
one
here
who
for a
derailed it.
debate
You
panel? Why
derailed
would
it.
we
You
not want to
derailed
do
it.
that?
You derailed it. You talked
didn't-
about
come
it. I
on.
didn't.
You have not
I didn't.
made a single argument, Grace, because you're too stupid. You're literally not smart
I've
enough
made
to
an
make an argument. No,
I've made
that's
an
not an argument.
Look
What's
at
the
two of
argument?
you.
The argument is you
guys
bad.
have been online for years. You're terrified of a 20-year-old girl and her dad.
I
And you
haven't
come
even
up
been
with
online for 2 years,
ridiculous-
Grace.
You come
Grace,
up
I
with
haven't even been
ridiculous
online for
lies.
2 years. I
up
haven't
with
even been
ridiculous
online for
lies.
2 years, Grace. You just
Well, would
making
either-
shit up because you're an
Would
idiot.
Would either of you debate my dad? No, you're total pussies. You'll
I
barely
already
get,
debated your dad and
barely
so did
get- you'll-
Destiny.
you'll
Wait,
barely
Destiny
get-
and me
You
and not
will
so
barely-
erudite. All three of
Yeah,
us
and then-
debated your
and then-
dad.
and then you all said you can never interact with him again. Don't you notice a pattern here? Don't you notice a
Yeah,
pattern
if you wreck a person that badly, you don't need to debate with them again because you already wrecked them, Grace.
You barely scraped up the courage to come here. Give me a break.
Yeah, here's how it went. You ready? Hey, Andrew, you want to come on this panel Monday? Yeah. Yeah, it was rough. It took all the courage that I had, Grace, in my heart. I had to summarize, I had to muster all of it to come onto the panel when Alex said, "Do you want to come on Monday?" And I responded with, "Yeah."
That is
What
how it
fucking-
happened.
Well, do you want to prove? Do you want to prove that you're not pussies? Do you want to prove that you're not a pussy, Andrew? Because
What, debating your dad so your dad could take your place? Just say debate
Yeah,
my dad.
as you said, as you said, you can wreck me, right? I'm a 20-year-old girl. Go ahead. Are you a pussy? You won't let him on any panels. Neither of you will. You're both terrified of him. So you take me
It's
in
not my
his
show.
place
Why
'cause
are you
know I'm a
asking me?
20-year-old
It's not
girl.
my show,
But
Grace.
I
Honestly,
said I'm
I'm
not
gonna
a
be
debater.
honest. I had to stop interacting with your dad because every single fucking girl that I know, he's fucking tried to get with, and it's really creepy. I try to create as much distance between you and him as
Oh,
possible.
so you're
because
afraid
your
of him
whole
taking
fucking-
away your pussy because you're a little cuck. You're a little.
Well, let's see. If I was a cuck, wouldn't I want him to take my pussy? Are you just like saying random words that you
No,
learned
because he
yesterday?
doesn't. No, because he doesn't like you watching. You have to pay extra for that. A
Wait,
lot
when
extra.
are we going to talk about Grace? sharing my race
So you're
sexual gameplay?
terrified of him. So you're both terrified of him because
just know- I just think
Destiny's
he's
afraid of
a
him because
creepy
he's going to
fuck.
take his pussy away from him, and
Yeah.
Andrew's afraid of him because what? You smashed him so hard last time, Andrew, that you had to delete that debate off your
Well,
channel because
Grace,
you
it
thought
sounds
he was
like-
so afraid.
because you
It
thought he
sounds
was
like-
a
I know, I know.
agent because
Yeah.
you thought my dad
Grace,
was a
it
CIA
sounds like
agent. He was
you're
trying to
the
take
one
you
who's
down to
afraid.
your
You're trying to
Russian
replace
Orthodox
yourself in a
views.
debate. You're trying to
to be
replace
fair,
yourself in a debate.
I will
Grace.
comment one thing. I've had multiple female guests tell me to please not have been on the same time as them. So I can understand the struggle from Destiny's side.
I've had
It's
five
because
he's a
different women
creep,
approach
Grace.
me. 5 different women approach me that have shot him down because he's like very, very, very forward and very, very, very creepy. With
I don't mind platforming your dad. It's just I can't do it with a lot of women who like
Yeah.
legit say I will not come on. If that's-
Remember that time he was driving down the street and started pulling that girl's hair who came to stay with you, Grace?
Yeah, she said it was fine. So-
Yeah, she's. Yeah,
You
that's
wouldn't.
not,
You
that's
wouldn't.
not fucking weird and creepy at all.
Touch a woman, right? Your wife probably beats you up every night, every time you lose a debate, which is always. She beats you real good, so you pay attention next time, right? She's a bodybuilder, right? She's got to have all those muscles for something
Grace.
to beat her.
I'm not
pussy-ass
pulling. I'm not
husband
pulling on
after he
random
runs
women's
away
hairs.
from Ben Thorpe for the 20th time online.
You're trying to replace yourself in the debate, Grace.
Andrew, you're the traditional one. I'm a 20-year-old girl. What the fuck am I doing on a
I
debate
didn't
panel?
invite you on the panel. Did I? What did I
Then
set
why
the
won't you-
panel up,
Go
Grace?
ahead. I'll switch out for him right now.
no.
Grace, it's not my panel, Grace.
Not an option. It has to be you, Grace. You can't avatar your way into your dad. This is not a Ben Thorpe. This is a Grace Thorpe debate. All right, let's redirect back to the initial topic.
She's like just start seething. How can we direct back? What's the argument? There's no argument.
Grace, okay, if you can make an argument, what do you think about this issue without referencing the people on the stage? I think that would help a lot.
Okay. There are people, women are contingent on men. So,
Let's go.
No, Ben. Negative.
Alex,
Dude, he looks like a
Why
fucking
not,
serial
Alex?
killer.
They want to talk shit.
Big-
I'm here.
No, because you were not invited guests to this panel. I'll have you on some other time, but I can't. I have to clear each guest with each person. I haven't asked Andrew, Ala, or Destiny if they're okay with talking to you. I'm not going to do like I'm
not
gonna do
personal. Give him 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes.
I'm not
Not
going to do a
personal.
bait. No. I'm not going to do a bait and switch on the other people on this panel. It's not what I'm going to do. That's not fair to everyone else who's here. So if Ben wants to come on, he can text me. We can talk about it, but it's not going to be a bait and switch last minute.
He doesn't want to switch on them.
I'm not going to do a bait and switch.
Ask them. Ask them.
It doesn't matter.
Ask Andrew and Destiny.
I don't.
No.
Make them say they're afraid of him. They won't talk to him. They won't give him 5 minutes.
I'm too
I
scared.
don't even
I'm too
care
scared. I
if
can
they
only
say
shit
yes.
talk him.
Okay,
I can only
Destiny
shit talk
says
him on
he's
his
too
back. I'm
scared.
too scared. I'm so
He
scared.
can
Yeah,
only shit talk you behind your back.
yeah, I'm so
What about you,
scared.
Andrew?
Spoken like a true cuck.
Yep, true.
Let's fucking
He's
go.
chain smoking, which is a confirmation that he too is very terrified of your father.
Grace, I was extremely clear that this is going to be you, not you and your dad. Like I was super clear about that.
Didn't you know they're a package deal?
Let's go, pussies. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Daddy's not going to hurt you. Just fucking
This is
sit
like,
there.
dude, this is like a kid who didn't get invited to a party who's standing outside the house for 2 hours, like trying to beg you for that.
Give him 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes. Give him 5 minutes.
Let me
Come on,
into
Alex.
party.
You know he's a better debater than I am. He's a better debater than I am.
But you were the one
Much
invited.
better.
Him. He's a different person. You guys are not like a package deal, or I guess I didn't know you were. If that's the
Pick on the
case.
fucking girl. Come on.
You gonna let them all pick on me? All 3 of these people have said disgusting things about me.
Everybody. You made it really, really personal. I'm just letting them respond. So far, it's mainly been you and Andrew going at it and making personal attacks at each other. I have no problem platforming them.
5 minutes. 5 minutes. 5 minutes.
It's not
I
happening.
just have to say,
It's not
Grace
happening.
has been kink shaming me and Nick's race play, and I'm very upset about it. Okay.
Well, feel free to make a statement because we haven't heard one word from you so far, Kyle. Don't fucking
That's
do
all I
it.
need to say. Okay?
I'm gonna kick you. I am straight up gonna ban you. Don't do it. I'm gonna ban you from the thing. You're gonna get permanent ban from my channel. I don't recommend you do it. You will be permanent banned. I will never have you on.
I don't know. I couldn't hear what you said.
You will be permanent banned from my channel. I will never have you on again. I will never platform you.
Oh, she gave me the headphones. I didn't hear what you were saying. I thought she was saying it was all right.
Back to headphones. It's getting super fucking weird. This is a race debate. You can't take her place.
No problem. No problem.
Okay.
I didn't know.
Okay.
Bunch of
You should
fucking
get Alex to
pussy.
go. You get Alex to co-host your kick or keep. I feel like this is the energy that we need to be bringing.
All right.
Here we go. Now
get
let's get back on track.
Yeah, where
Anyways,
were we again? We were waiting for Grace's argument.
I made my argument.
What was the argument again?
That we suck.
Oh, you can't
That we
remember. any-
suck?
Yes, that
You're
you two
bad men.
suck. Yes.
Okay, well, my argument back is
And
that
I'm a
you
good
suck.
woman.
You suck worse. That's my
Why?
argument back.
Why? Why?
Give me the reason why. Give me
I
the
already
reason
told you
why we
twice.
suck.
I told you twice.
Yeah, you
You're
have
a
a creepy
loser.
relationship with your dad. You have a
You're
creepy relationship with
loser.
your family.
You're a fake man who tries to puff up his ego by being aggressive towards 20-year-old girls online and being an asshole. That's why. You're a prick. You're a
the
prick.
20-year-old girl who just ran to get her father to debate with me.
all right,
You're
let's
a
again.
prick.
I want to stop. Both of you stop. I want to get back on track. It was fun for a while. Let's get back on track. Kyla literally has not said one word this whole time. I don't even know if she can talk because she hasn't gotten a chance to talk.
But that's
yet.
been the best part of the debate, though. so
Let's
far.
It's because I'm
bring
a
it-
based
let's-
alpha male. I
Let's
don't
bring
give
it
a
back
fuck.
on track. So there's clearly disagreements between Andrew's position and Kyla's and Destiny's position. So that's a good point to start on. Grace, we're still not really sure what your position is. If you could explain how you feel about this topic without referencing people on the panel, that would make it a lot more clear what your thoughts on this are, and then we can have an actual debate.
Okay, women are torn between 2 options. They can either be rad trad traditional wives with fake masculine men at their helm, or they can be whores who get used by liberal men who may or may not have blue hair and, a sad face right now. So,
Okay. We can build on.
you could forget Zoomer guys altogether. They're all addicted to porn. They're sweethearts, but they have no idea how to deal with women. So, women who are contingent on men don't have any men who can provide them with stability and security. That's why.
All right, we got an argument. Let the debate begin.
I don't know where we're at. I don't remember. I don't remember where we're at.
Well,
Okay, Grace thinks it's all men. Destiny and I are basically saying I don't know if the happiness thing is exclusively gendered, and I think I'm sorry, it's been so long. I literally can't remember your argument.
I
Andrew.
actually don't blame you. I honestly don't blame you for once.
He's quite forgettable. Yeah.
All right, so why don't we let Andrew repeat his argument really quickly?
Oh, I said I think that the primary reason for the decline in happiness, while I would concede that yes, it is across both sexes, that the reason that it's heightened for women in a general sense is because of the change in dynamic of family. So I think it's the change in dynamic at family and the amount of children being born less. And I think that the kind of primary function of women, if you will, or their overwhelming biological need is to have children. I think that's hardwired into them, and that when they have children, they tend to be happier.
Okay, there we go. I think Destiny and Kyla can definitely work with that.
Go, Kyle. I already talked.
Fuck. Sorry, I was distracted partway through by Nick, guys.
Wow.
I'm sorry. He was just asking me a question about some chore stuff. Okay.
Did you send him back to do the dishes? There you go, little boy. Make sure
I
you
did,
do what
but-
mommy told you to. You
Well,
get
it's
your
race
treat.
play. It's race play, actually. So I'd prefer if you don't like shame it.
What race is he? He's white.
No, he's not.
If families made women more happy, they've got the opportunity to choose families right now. Why wouldn't they just do that? Do you think that like every woman in society? Because in order for the conservative theory to be true here, two huge sets of women are making mistakes. One, all moms are making mistakes because it's oftentimes moms that are pushing the daughters to go get school, to go get an education, to go get a career, so that they don't have to live like the same lives that they did. And then two, all the women that are being pushed are making the mistakes of doing it as well. If it was like so much better to just be a mom, why wouldn't women just be like, "Fuck it, let's go settle down and have kids"?
Well, because overwhelmingly they're kind of trained to want these goal markers, which is security based. Things like a college education, you see them going after higher education far more often than men, for instance. You see them kind of going for those markers more and more and more. And so it's societally reinforced, in other words, and has been for a while. We've been kind of moving towards starting families later and later and later when people are more financially secure. So women are waiting longer and longer. That's one of the primary reasons that there's a decline in the birth rates to begin with, is because women are waiting until later to have families. So when they even do have children, they don't have as many as they would have had if they had started when they were younger, because there's a kind of a time stopgap on this.
Well, even that's not necessarily true, right? Like, it's not like women tend to limit the amount of kids they have by how long they can have kids, right? Like, they
I mean, that necessarily that necessarily follows that
No, it doesn't.
women are more fertile when they're younger. Of course.
It doesn't matter if you're more, you can easily have kids up to probably 40.
You can, that's true, but the amount of defects and other risks which are associated with it greatly increase past X age.
Yeah,
so
well,
if you're
35,
looking,
but again, even at 40, if you really want to have kids, you can still have kids. Like,
you
no problem.
can, but you're going to have less probably than if you started having them in your 20s.
Yeah, but how many people started in their 20s or started in their 30s? If you start when you're 30 years old, you could easily have 10 kids.
You can,
but it's not like we see all these people like, God, I only had 10 kids.
But it's far more. You can, but it's far more risky. And generally speaking, if you look at the trends, yeah, it is riskier to have a child even at 30 than it is to have them when you're 24, 25.
Increase is really minimal until basically 35. Where
I didn't give you a percentile of how much the risk is. I'm just
a small jump in
Kyla, who cares? I'm just expressing there is a distinction. I'm making a distinction, Kyla. Calm down, Kyla. Let me finish my argument. So what I'm saying to you is that when women begin to have children younger, they do generally tend to have more children. If you look at like religious trends, for instance, you're going to find this same type of thing. Oftentimes religious people get married when they're younger. Oftentimes they have more children. It just kind of follows. And it makes sense almost intuitively, not just with the data, but intuitively it makes sense that if you start having children when you're younger, you're probably going to have more of them. Now, it might not be for every woman who exists, but, I think that it's, as far as a commonality, true.
So is your claim basically that women are going to be happier if they can have more children?
Well, or any children. I think even any children is better. So
sure,
I think that.
But we all agree that you can have more. You can have children at 30. So are you? I'm trying to understand. Are you trying to relate happiness index to number of children?
Well, so couples, if you have, I mean that is tied in though. That if you look at
I'm just asking. I'm literally just trying to clarify.
Yeah. So I am saying that I think that women, generally speaking, if they're married and have families, they generally report that they're higher on the happiness index than women who do not and are single. There's flux in that data, and you have to add other things into it, like religion, things like that. You're right when you guys say it's complex and there's more than one issue involved, but I do think the family dynamic is one of the primary reasons.
Like, do you think women would be happier with 3 children instead of 2, or 4 children instead of 2?
I don't know specifically, but I think more than one.
You'd expect it to go up, like
find some kind of correlatory. I do think that women who have larger families probably do say that they're happier on the index.
So the research that I can find on this says that the first and second children do seem to provide both parents a boost in happiness, but the third does not, and the fourth distinctly does not. So it seems like 1 and 2 kids seems to make people like happier on average, but beyond that, so like,
if we're talking about women having 1 to 2 kids, for me.
Sure.
And then tell me where you're finding this.
But wouldn't you have to ask why women don't want to have children?
Yeah, but I mean, right now we're just we're just kind of setting the groundwork for whether or not it's even problematic, right? Like we're just starting by laying the groundwork, Grace.
Well, obviously people are having less kids. What do we need stats for? Everybody knows that.
Yeah, we're not. That's not really what we're arguing. Like, Why don't you understand?
What
Why
are you
can't
trying to
follow the
determine? If
argument?
the third and fourth kids make you less happy than the second and
Oh my God,
first and
forget it.
second?
Just forget it. Just like, who even?
Well,
why
what the
even
fuck are
have
you
the
guys
fucking
talking
debate?
about?
Why even have the debate?
I don't understand.
That's the first
What are you
intelligent
guys
question that
talking
you've
about?
asked all night. What the fuck are you guys talking about? That's the
What
very
are
first
the
intelligent thing you've
statistics for?
said.
There's no conversation here.
Oh, you
guys
mean
are
the
just trying to-
the statistics we were just about to go over?
Why don't we talk about the bigger question? Why don't people want to have as many kids? That's obviously true. People have way less kids now and have them later in life.
Because I don't think we would disagree necessarily about the reasons that they're having less kids later. I don't think that was the point of the contention, Grace.
It's about whether or not having less kids is making them unhappy, right?
Yeah.
So you can give your input on that, Grace, whether you agree or disagree with that.
Yeah, Grace, 20-year-old lady, please tell us what you think about having kids and how that influences the happiness.
And how many should women have before they'll be the most happy, Grace?
Well, obviously, I mean, people are made to have children. We're made to reproduce. So I think you should have kids naturally, of course. Everybody wants to have sex, and obviously sex ends in kids. So kids do make people happy. That's true. Families make people happy. The problem is people have fucked up families. Everybody sucks nowadays, so nobody wants to have kids. Haven't you ever heard people say, "I don't want to bring kids into this world"? That's the problem. Everybody sucks.
So we're back to because people bad.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. So what would make people good?
Do you think people look at any of you three on the panel and think, "Yeah, that makes me want to be like
Yeah,
them"?
but aside
have
from us,
kids
what
in
would
a
make
world with them.
make people good?
I don't know, if they were nicer, if they weren't ageist, if they weren't sexist, like you
Okay.
fucks.
Yeah. So the isms. So
Yeah.
all that we need to do is get rid of the isms, and
Maybe if
then
they were
society will
honest.
be perfect.
Yeah, maybe
big
if
brain
people were
stuff,
honest.
Grace.
Maybe if people didn't make fun of people for having sexual problems, maybe if people didn't do this bullshit like you did with Nick Fuentes, didn't you, Andrew? They're all pedophiles, and now you're buddies with him again, right? Because you obviously clearly don't give a shit about anything you say. People like you are role models. People like Destiny, you guys say things all the time that you clearly don't give a shit about. If nobody gives a shit, why should you have kids? If you think somebody's a pedophile and then the next day you're buddies with them or you think they're facilitating pedophilia, who the fuck should listen to you? You clearly don't care about anything except grifting.
I should just endlessly get swatted for the rest of my life and have my family threatened. Grace,
I do
that's
think you
what
should.
happen.
I think you should kill yourself. I think that would probably be
Oh,
There
yeah.
you go.
for everybody.
Big brain stuffed.
Don't take it
Big
there.
brain stuff.
Don't take it there. Don't take it there.
I'm just saying that's my personal opinion.
Oh, no. Don't go there. Don't go there.
The world would be a better place.
No, it's cool. Let her get your channel banned, Alex.
Well, it's not gonna get my channel banned. Just kind of distasteful. All right. Anyway, let's get this back on track. So I believe Kyla and Destiny were disagreeing with Andrew about whether having children is the thing.
Yeah. Hey, by the way, is that what a good person says? Does a good person ask another person to kill themselves?
Oh, I wasn't asking you to.
Is that like what?
I'm
good people
begging
do?
you to. Please.
Right.
Please.
Is that what good?
end
Is
it
that what good people
as soon
do?
as possible. As soon as possible.
Would you like
We can
categorize
all
that
be
as
relieved.
what a good person
We can all
does?
be relieved. Yeah, absolutely. If it would make everybody happier, then yes. Yes. I beg you, Andrew, please.
All right. Let's look. All right.
Should they let 50-year-olds dance around them while they lick their panties? Does that make
Oh,
women happier,
Take,
Grace?
take all those
I
guns you
yeah,
have.
yeah,
Take all those guns you
chill
have.
out.
And clean
Hang
their
on.
barrels
This is a
meticulously
warning.
every
This is a
day.
warning. Wait, stop. This is a warning for everyone on the panel, but mainly you, Grace. Let's not talk about the kill yourself shit anymore. You can make fun of Andrew if you want or whatever, but don't do the death shit.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, it's okay. I forgive you. All right. Let's get back on track. So where the fuck were we?
I don't know.
This is the most I've ever had to babysit a panel. Usually on these things, I'm just like not talking for half an hour at a time. I feel like I've had to take like a very active role in this discussion to moderate this. Okay, so do you think? Okay, let me flip the question like this: besides kids, do you think there's anything else that makes women less happy, Andrew?
Yeah, I mean, all sorts of things are correlated into this. So one thing is loneliness. That's a big one, especially later in life. That can be a big one. But there's all sorts of correlatories. But I think that family function, family dynamics, I think that that's a big one. I think that women, when they're raised by single moms, just like with men, they have, they're less likely to be happy overall in life. I think that two parents in a stable household generally does better for men and women. So yeah, I think that there's a lot of different correlations which go into this, but definitely the family dynamic is important.
All right, so Kyle and Destiny, would you disagree with that? Would you agree with that?
That the family dynamic is important.
For happiness, I mean, of course, the family dynamic is happy. It is like essential for happiness, but
Yeah.
you'd have to supply evidence that like people are experiencing like family relations at like a significantly less rate, and that's like directly contributed for unhappiness. Because again, like when I look at like happiness facts, for example, it seems to be the case that like there's certain trends that affect both genders. Like men's happiness took a massive hit in the 70s because most of the manufacturing jobs got outsourced, so they were jobless, right? And being out of job is pretty awful for your happiness. So I don't know. I just don't know if all these things are gendered.
Yeah, but I mean, you would agree right now that women definitely suffer from greater rates of unhappiness than men do.
No, that doesn't actually seem obvious to me based on the varied research. The one stat that Alex cites claims that, but when you look at like 2022 data from like Gallup, or when you like compare different things, it seems mixed. What we do see is like greater levels of like specifically like anxiety, depression in women specifically. That does seem to be true, which we
Yeah,
can
why?
definitely talk about.
Why do you
I
think
think-
that is?
I think the like easiest thing to point at that seems to be decently causally linked is social media, and it seems to be particularly hard for women on social media.
Why?
I don't know if the reason why social media is hard. There's been some conversations about like upward comparisons and like beauty standards that are super unattainable for women. So it's not super clear why specifically.
So should women
social
get off
media
the
is making people
internet?
sad.
Should women get off the internet for their own good? That
Well,
seems like that's what you're arguing, right? It's like women should get off the fucking internet and then they'd be happier.
Nope. There's like multiple solutions to a problem like this, right? It's possible that if we could figure out what specifically in social media is making, because it also makes men unhappy, just at a lesser rate, we could maybe just change that so that men and women can stay on the internet and not be made sad.
What do you mean change that? How would you change that?
Well, if we could figure out what specifically is causing the rise of unhappiness in relation to social media, we could, whatever that is, we might be able to change
Yeah,
it
but you
through, like,
just said that
policy
it's
or
for
platform.
women, it's because of beauty standards which are unattainable and these other standards which are
I
unattainable,
said
right?
that's one of the theorized ideas, but it's definitely not concrete. Like the data isn't clear on like what specifically about social media is making men and women sad.
Yeah, but you would just go with the data that you think is the most clear then, right?
Do you want to get into like predictive models? I don't know how to explain this to you. Not necessarily.
No,
I would
not necessarily.
So the data that we have is quite robust and does seem to show like quite strongly a causal link between happiness in both men and women, but more so for women in social media use and specifically certain types of social media use. But
Like
the like
what?
actual so it seems to be the case that women who are on like actual like social media, so like Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, seem to be more affected in their happiness than if they're like on like Reddit or like surfing like the web like in a more like kind of like faceless way. Like Reddit, for example, is like men use a lot, or YouTube doesn't seem to have as big of a contribution for making people unhappy.
So like things like Instagram, you said that would be more correlative.
Instagram, Twitter, TikTok seems more
So
predictive.
and,
yeah.
and what do you think those things are on Instagram? What types of content do you think they're posting that's making them unhappy?
So I already said one of the theories is upward comparison, so like beauty standards, but that wouldn't explain men necessarily. It could actually be upward comparison for men as well. It's hard to say. But
Or it
that's
could
why
be,
this
or
theor-
it could be then that if the women left the internet and or got off social media altogether, that you might see men's happiness also increase and their happiness. It could be the same exact thing. Maybe what's making the men so unhappy that not so erudite is all the women posting, like half nudes and things like this and creating simp armies. Maybe that's part of it.
I guess you would have to present me data that actually suggests that men's
Well, there's no,
happiness would just
according to you, there's no
increase if they
data,
weren't on social
right?
media.
There's like no data, so we're just
Well,
speculating
if
here,
you were
right?
listening, you would know that I didn't say that there's no data. I just said that like there isn't conclusive data to point to precisely.
Yeah, there's
why
not no
specifically
data. It's
social
just
media-
not conclusive data.
on
So, I
the
mean, we're
question that
speculating.
you're asking,
I
yes.
think simp armies are actually pretty good for society as a whole. I think because simping for somebody is kind of a complicated relationship. If you like them, if you're funny, it does actually give you some meaning and purpose, especially for these guys, but also the women enjoy it. I think people in general have forgotten that relationships are what people are really all about. Deep relationships. And yeah, sure, we're all very disconnected, but like simping for somebody, messing around in chat, getting to know people parasocially online is better than the utter isolation a lot of people face. I think social media on the whole is good. Because
the
people
problem
are
is social
so
media is like replacing real life interactions. I think that's the big issue.
Yeah, it's like a tool, right? It can be good, but like it also seems to have negative effects as well.
But don't you think real life interactions have like degraded a lot? People have a lot less family, a lot less community. Everybody's so wound up about their boundaries, about their space, about their consent. Don't you think like people in general let loose on the internet a little bit because in real life relationships have sort of like gotten really, really alienated?
I think that sometimes, I don't think that's always true. I don't think letting loose on the internet is necessarily a good thing.
I would probably, I'll just offer this. My theory is I think there's a direct correlation between how much people spend online and how unhappy they are. I think that for people who spend like 10 to 12 hours a day on the internet, they have no friends in real life. Pretty much every single one of them is miserable and depressed. When I do street interviews and I talk to normies, most of them, they don't really believe a lot of this like cringy internet theories. They have normal lives, they have normal friends, they have girlfriends, they live life. I think there's definitely, and those people seem a lot happier than the people I interact with on the internet. But I'll just say this on this topic.
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, social media is good for like niche populations. It seems to have been good for like, for example, like autistic people because they can like have a better time finding other like autistic people to be friends with or like neurodivergent groups. But it like seems on whole to like, I would argue it's possible that the community connections are actually disrupted by social media itself. Like,
I think in moderation, it's okay. Like in extreme moderation, it's totally fine. It actually can be beneficial because you can meet people you have never met in real life. Yeah, like when people overdo it, just like with anything, it just becomes like it just gets you. You just become antisocial. You spend all day on your computer. You don't have any real relationships. You don't have any real friends. People who you're friends with are people you've never actually met in real life. They're probably like some fat dude in India who you think is like a hot girl. So yeah, there's all kinds of issues with that. That's as much as I'm going to engage in a debate. Do you guys have anything more to add to this topic? Do you want to move on to the next one?
You can move on. Like,
all right, cool.
I hardly even know where we were at with this one, to be honest with you, because the whole thing got derailed. So.
All right, well, let's try to keep the next one more on topic. So, next topic is: should men treat women as equals?
I don't know who you want to start with.
You don't need to make an opening statement. You can just free flow it.
I feel like this is always one of those like bait questions where what we're really asking is what do we mean by equal? I think that's like the because like the same probably equal? Not, but like equal rights and everything afforded under the law probably, yeah, right.
Equal access.
I think we generally agree about this one, but I mean,
I don't know that I don't know that I do.
Okay,
so.
Does everyone think that women should be able to vote?
No.
Okay, there we go. That would be our disagreement. Why do you think that women should not be able to vote?
For the same reason I don't think most men should be able to vote.
Which is
that they have no stake in the game. And so if you don't have a high enough stake in the game, why should you be able to vote in the game or delineate the direction that the nation should go?
How do women have no stake in the game?
Well, not just women, men too. So this is the big problem. What I would
we all
propose,
have a stake in the country and how good the country
so
goes?
what I would propose would be some sort of limited democracy, which is what we started with in the Republic anyway, was a limited democracy where only 5% of people could vote anyhow. And I mean, our entire electorate system has changed drastically in comparison to the early parts of the nation. And I do think that stakeholder democracy is far better. What my proposal would be is service guarantee citizenship. So some sort of elongated unpaid service to the state. And then from there, you can vote. And that would apply to men and women. I think both of those would be fine. I just think that you would necessarily end up with far more men who would do it.
Isn't the issue here really like are men and women complementary or are they like distinct individuals? Like, do they work together or are they perfectly fine separate from each other? Because I think men and women are complementary. So a lot of the time when people say women should be treated equal to men, what they mean is they should be treated as men, which is sort of prioritizing men and deprioritizing femininity. Really what they are is they work together. Everybody knows that, right? I mean, if you say men are better leaders and women are better supporters, that's obviously true. No, they're different, but they have equal dignity.
I think everyone on this panel would agree that men and women work better together. I think the crux of the topic is when it comes to like, let's just say dating, should you, act differently around girls that you're trying to pick up than like your male friends, right? What are those differences? How substantial are they?
Well, I don't think it's just in dating. I mean, when you're asking kind of this fundamental question of should men and women be equal, Destiny asked probably the very first good grounding question, which is what do we mean by equal? So they're kind of making the distinction, or I think they're trying to, that of course men and women from an ontological standpoint are different, right? But that doesn't mean that they should necessarily be treated different in society. Is that what you guys are saying?
I think it's about like access
I
to
think they
certain
should
like
be-
opportunities and protections, right? Like we're not saying that they can't be treated different, because what does that mean? We mean like at a legal like governmental level, yeah, both should be given like access of opportunities. They should have like the certain rights. Assault on a woman is the same as assault on a man.
Yeah, but I mean, the problem with this argument, though, is that due to the ontological differences in men and women, when this is applied, we actually see it become very unequal. So men get longer sentences, for instance, than women do for the same types of crimes, especially violent crimes. Same thing with sex crimes. They get much lighter sentences when it comes to that as well. So it might sound good to say that we can apply these things equally to both, but they don't seem to be being applied equally to both. And this might have something to do with the difference in men being men and women being women, that there's more fundamental differences there than just this kind of idea that we can treat everybody equally.
So
Well-
you believe that the reason that men are getting longer sentences is because of an ontological difference between men and women?
Yeah, I think that men, generally speaking, hand out and dole out lighter sentences to women than women would to women. And yes, there is data to support that, by the way. If you'd like to see it, I can pull that up and send it to you. But I don't even think that that's really in dispute. There is a massive amount of lighter sentencing which happens across the sexes. And
Right,
it's
but I'm
because
asking if
men
it's
and women view each other
ontological.
well, I think that the necessity of, when you're talking about being, that men are different, not just physiologically, but I think that there's an ontological difference between them too. Yes.
So
course
do you,
I do.
would
Kyla,
you
Kyla,
agree
can I
that
ask you
women
as a
should
woman-
get less of a charge than a man? Like, would you agree with this? If they're so ontologically different, it sounds like society's operating pretty well. Like, if women are fundamentally different than men in most ways, and the law is therefore punishing them a little bit less, wouldn't that just be society responding correctly to the
No,
differences between them? If they're
because
fundamental?
no, because each society has a different sequence of systems which that society operates in for their codified laws. So that might only be a symptom of a democratic system and democratic law. Whereas if you had a monarchy, for instance, or you had some type of government authority which had distinction, you might not see such unequal things applied. In fact, I remember we were kind of discussing this on an earlier panel about witches, for instance, and how, they would
remember us
burn them
talking
at the
about
stake,
witches.
right? They would burn them at the stake. So what I'm saying is they seem to have not so much of a problem doling out equally harsh punishment. It just depends on the system that you're in. So no, I don't think that it's playing out how it's necessarily supposed to. I think it plays out maybe how you would think it would play out depending on the system you're in.
But
Okay,
Kyla,
so you
Kyla,
feel like
Kyla,
in
as a-
monarchy or
men
in
and women are
communism,
different, though.
they actually
But
treat
Kyla,
them differently.
Kyla,
So that's
as
not
a
about a
woman-
fundamental ontological
Kyla,
difference. between them,
as a
right?
woman,
Well,
as
yes,
a
it
woman,
is. It's
wouldn't
their
we-
nature playing out in a system differently. Yes, it would be an
Grace
ontological
has been a
difference.
good girl. Let's let
It
her
would
get
be
her
the
question.
nature of a thing
Thank you,
differently
Alex.
applied to a different
I
I
environment.
want to
Yeah.
say something to Kyla. I want to say that women and men are different, and women, we say we want something publicly, but in reality, we want something very different. And you know this personally. Like, the top best-selling book of all time, apart from the Bible, is 50 Shades of Grey, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so like women, like we like to say like, yeah, I'd like to be treated equally. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. I'm the same as a man. I want equal respect. But in reality, we want to be fucking degraded, don't we? Like, that's why we eat up that book. We want to project ourselves as somebody who's like has a lot of dignity and everything. But in reality, like, yes, we have dignity, but what we really want from men is something we find shameful. Don't we just need to be honest about that?
Just because somebody's into some sort of sexual play doesn't mean that there's anything actually degrading to the person about it. There's a level of mutual respect in that play as well.
But sexual play about being degraded speaks to something in you that you
No,
want
because
to
it's
be
sexual play.
dominated and
It's the difference
not
between playing a
necessarily.
video
Okay,
game where you kill people and
okay,
actually killing people.
forget degraded. What about dominated? Okay, obviously that also affects your life. If you want to get dominated by a man sexually, you also want to get dominated by a man in every other way.
That is not true at all.
Yeah, I would just. agree with
That's
that.
absolutely true. Sex is like the key to your like soul. It reveals like your true self, your sexual instincts, your sexual kinks. It reveals like things about your childhood. It's absolutely true. It's deeply connected.
Every single girl
Women
I've
want
ever
to be
dated-
dominated.
I'll just say this: every single girl I've ever dated has been super sexually submissive, but when it comes to like day-to-day life, like if I was trying to like dominate them, they would fucking hate that. Like absolutely.
Yeah, but that's because we're liars. That's because we want to seem like
my
we're
God.
not like we're
So do
like
you,
fancy.
Do you think like women don't actually
Because we're
like, we
liars.
say we want the vote, but we're like lying about it? Like we don't.
Yeah,
actually want the vote.
absolutely. Do women like confident men, or do we like men who like want to treat us as equals? No, we like. Why does
Why
every
can't those
girl
be
want
the
to hop
same
on
thing?
John
Why is a
Zerka's dick?
confident
Because
guy-
he treats them like shit, right? It's like the typical hockey player. The guy who treats a girl like shit is the guy who gets all the girls, right? Because we don't want to say what we want is to be dominated. We just want to be dominated. So yeah, in debates like this, all the girls are going to say, "Yeah, I want to be treated equally." But in reality, we all know we want to get pushed around and told what to do. And we like that. It makes us happy.
Yeah,
So
but
Grace, are you saying all women are whores, Grace?
No, that doesn't make you a whore. It makes you a good woman that you want to be dominated. Very Catholic.
Okay. Got it. Just want to make sure that
I
we're
guess-
clear on this.
I'd be curious to know, Grace, why do you think that like women's rating of happiness increases when they get access to rights like voting? And in fact, one of the best predictors of whether or not you see women's happiness in a country is like their access to women's rights. Like, why do you think that these things are so correlated?
Is that actually like statistically true,
Well,
Kyla?
don't we have more rights now? And isn't Alex's whole point that women's happiness is going down?
Well,
So-
the issue is that we're contending a little bit with the point, which is that like women's happiness is going down a little bit, but men's happiness is actually tanking more than women's right now. Like it's not just this
Right.
click of like, yeah, women are just less happy on average. It's like that's not really true. Like women have more mental health on average, but actually men's happiness is like massively tanking compared.
I don't know.
Well,
Kyla,
I mean,
don't
I
know if
was-
that's true. I think the female
Yeah.
happiness in the last 20 years has been going downhill a bit more than male happiness. But if you have like some data, I would change my position. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you look through like Gallup polls and stuff, like I said, it is contentious. Like the issue in part is like the way that we're measuring things like happiness. But on average, it seems like there are certain areas that like cause like tanking. For example, like if you have like access to rights, but the societal norms don't like update, that can create like issues of unhappiness where like kind of politically we're ahead of where we are like socially, which can create like this disparity that leads to like women's unhappiness. But it seems to be the case that actually like women's happiness bounced back quite a bit in about the 70s and started like popping back up. And right now what we're actually seeing is a massive decline in men's happiness. That's why there's like concerns about like the male loneliness epidemic. We're not talking about like the woman's loneliness epidemic or the woman's sadness epidemic. We're talking about male loneliness.
But Kyla, can you just answer my question as a woman? That all like me and you both like. I'm not saying degraded. I was trolling a little bit before, but like I'm not saying degraded. I'm not saying it's like disgusting or dirty or whorish. I'm just
Well,
saying
why don't you stop trolling and start
dominated.
debating?
dominated like in a dignified way, but just one person is the leader. Do all women kind of want to be dominated? We find that the most attractive.
I don't know if that's true, right? Like there is this sexual thing that you're talking about, but the idea that like women just want to be dominated broadband across a relationship doesn't seem to be true. For example, in some of the most like domineering relationships that exist, like very, very like very traditional kind of like harmful relationships that are high authoritarian, we actually see that women's happiness is like particularly low. Like in the cases of like abusive relationships where the man is like being
Yeah, but
controlling
she
and
asked you
whatnot.
specifically
She's
about
unhappy.
sexual relations. That's what she said.
Yep, no, but the issue is she's gender.
No, I'm
like,
saying all. I'm saying all
Yeah, I
around.
think he's talking
It
It
about
applies to
Nice
all.
try.
It applies to all. Well, Kyla, what's the height thing? Why do girls like guys who are taller than them, bigger than them, right?
Because
generally
they like
smarter
markers of
and older than
masculinity.
them. Why?
I don't know. if
Why? Why
care
do they
about
want them
smarter
to
than them.
dominate them in all those
Well, they
groups?
want
It
markers
doesn't
of
mean
masculinity.
It doesn't mean. Yes, but what is masculinity? What is like? What are the markers? What is that
One
pointing at?
marker of masculinity
they're the
is
same?
like bigger body. So they tend to like
so
men
that
with
they
bigger
can
bodies.
what other men and women? So that they can what? What's the word?
I reject this idea that like the reason that women are picking men with bigger bodies is because like, man, he can just destroy me in the bed. You know, he could, if he wanted to, he could murder me tonight. Like
You
don't-
I'm
Why are they doing
aware
it?
of that
Part of
reality.
Well, then what are they doing it for?
Wait.
Come on, that's part of it.
So
It's also like he's just bigger, so like you trust him, and also like he could hurt somebody for you, protect you, right? It's all of those things, obviously.
yeah, but like this is like basically now you're trying to create like because he's taller, women just like want to be dominated. That doesn't like map on at all. There's no connection here.
Drink, would you?
Women like the idea of men being taller than them, being over them, dominating them. I'm not saying it's abusive.
You're just like
I'm
you're
saying-
just adding in dominating. I'm rejecting that. I'm just saying no. I disagree with that.
Oh, come on, Kyla. You're not
Well,
happy
they
with
just
your
so
being-
Kyla, they just want them so that they can reach the tall part of the shelf. Is that what
No,
they
they
want them
want-
for?
no,
Is that what
they
they want the
obviously-
big tall men for, Kyla?
Do you think that men want girls with big titties and asses because they're like, man, big titties and asses make them so submissive and easy to dominate? No, they're just
No, but
markers
that's
of, like,
part of it that they're
masculinity
more
and
feminine, and
Wait.
the feminine is submissive.
It is showing. Yeah, she's right. I mean, it is showing features that are feminine, and so you associate it with woman, and so you associate certain characteristics with that, of course.
Right, and I'm rejecting that the main reason that women are selecting tall men is because they want to be dominated by them.
What are they doing it for?
Because
So that
are
they can reach the
markers of
top of the
masculinity.
shelf?
No, it's really mundane and boring. They look masculine, which they're attracted
Yeah, and why
to
do they
because they're
want
straight women?
Why do they
they've-
want them to look masculine? What is sexually appealing about that, or just personally appealing? What is it about that?
Sorry,
It has a meaning.
because they're straight.
Yeah,
No,
but what
just
is
because,
it
like,
about
hold
being
on,
tall
just
that they're
because you're trying
attracted
to apply some like Freudian meaning that like behind all of this doesn't mean that that's actually existent. You would need to provide evidence that the main reason women find height attractive is specifically because they feel that they will be dominated by the size.
Okay,
In
well,
fact,
here.
it seems to be the case that one of the major
Well,
reasons
I
that women
mean-
are nervous of men with large size is because they're afraid of the violence risk, right?
Yeah, but that's also what makes them hot. Like, why are girls so against dating a guy who's equal height to them or shorter? Because that shows that the man, even though he might be a great guy, with them, it makes the man look weak, right? I mean, it's common. What about like Beauty and the Beast? It's not about like Beauty and the wimp, Beauty and the loser. It's Beauty and the Beast, right? It's about a girl coming into contact with masculinity and learning how to like somewhat tame it, but also get to know it and like it.
I'm just
it's
rejecting
that
your like
is-
Freudian application to all of this. I think it's a lot more simple, which is that straight people are going to be attracted to markers of masculinity or femininity depending on like what their gender is.
Okay,
That's
so
as
this-
simple as
this
that.
from-
And one of the marker of masculinities is a larger body. It's
California,
higher
you can pull this up because it'll be easier for me than sending it. But California
Yeah,
State
Share
University
the screen,
Fullerton.
I'll pull it up.
There was no nuance in their results at all. Out of 0 out of 160 women surveyed showed a statistical preference for weaker men. 0 out of 160 surveyed.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, hold on.
Doesn't
Right.
do anything.
Why do you? But
Okay,
I mean,
hold
why
on,
do you,
wait,
why
wait,
would you
let's-
think that would be? What do you think their answers were?
Sorry. None of this has anything. I'm fully granting that women tend to be attracted to markers of masculinity. What I'm doing is rejecting your weird psychoanalytic narrative that the reason that they're specifically attracted to his physical size is because there's a sneaky part of them that's being like, oh, god damn, I'm really excited for when he dominates me. Like
But
that,
what-
especially globally, right? Because what Grace is saying is
Well, she didn't just say that. She also said it's because of markers of
Sexually.
protection and being able to protect you and all that stuff.
What she's saying is that because there's a sexual desire to be dominated in women, which is common, and I've already granted that generalizes to all parts of women's life, and it implies
Yes,
that in like
obviously.
the day-to-day interaction,
It's obviously
Let's
true.
let Destiny get
basically-
the word
hold
in.
on.
Destiny hasn't talked in like 20 minutes.
If you want to be dominated by somebody sexually, you also want to be dominated by them in your life.
that's
Clearly,
ridiculous.
obviously.
No, that might be your experience, but that is not the average experience.
If that's your relationship with a man sexually, it would also be your relationship with him outside of the bedroom as well.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
That's
where I gotta
absolutely not
delineate.
true.
Just-
Okay,
That's where I have to
just- no,
delineate
Alex,
too.
Alex,
Alex, what is your number
Why
one?
not? Okay, I don't know.
Wait, let Destiny talk. He hasn't talked in like 20
Yeah,
minutes.
okay. There chances are we are a sexually dimorphic species. There's some traits that men have, there's some traits that women have. Just because somebody has a preference for a trait doesn't mean that you can ascribe some causal link for why they have that preference. If it was the case that men grew fucking horns and women didn't, women would probably be attracted to nice horns. Not because men could wrestle with them or stab things with them, but just because that's going to be a difference between men versus women. Why do men have a preference for short women? Is there some advantage for us for women being short? There's not. But being short seems to be like a cool thing because you're like, oh, cool, because it's a feminine thing, because it's a way that we're different.
But
Just because
Destiny,
we're
that
different
means
in
that
some
you can
ways.
dominate them if they're
Sure,
small.
just because we're different in some ways doesn't mean that there's like a function to why we want that certain difference. It's just a highlight for the ways that we're different from one another. Why do men like women with nice asses? You don't feed kids with your butt. It doesn't actually do anything. There's no function to it. So
Yeah,
no,
but
just because there's a preference for a difference on a thing doesn't mean that you can go ahead and
Yeah.
unload that and ascribe that to a whole bunch of different reasons for why you might have.
but don't you think that
reason
there's a
they're
distinction in preference if people who are surveyed about what their reasons are, and in the survey you have like 160 women and they all say they prefer this trait versus kind of the mixed bag of some women saying or some men saying I like shorter women.
Most women are going to prefer taller men. Most men are probably going to prefer shorter women.
Destiny, but that's ridiculous. You're just saying they prefer taller men because they prefer taller men. That's not an argument.
Yes.
Why do they like them being tall?
Yeah, you're the one that's
Ridiculous.
Unfortunately you're trapped into
What
a
is
world
it
where
that
you're
women
loading.
like about looking up at a guy? What is it?
It might just be that you just like the fact that the guy is taller. That it literally
You're just coping so hard. You know
Why
that.
do you
answer.
think
Never mind.
female mooses are super into like mooses with big antlers? Do you think that's because when they look at the male moose with big antlers, she's like, oh God, this male moose can dominate me? No, it's because the antlers have been sexually evolved to cue masculinity and testosterone levels, and which she's selecting for like strong partners to like lead to good offspring. The idea of like applying all this extra Freudian shit is just your stuff. This is like the whole problem with Evo Psych. So we just try to imbue a whole bunch of stuff into it when it's like, because it evolved, because they evolved as different markers. We prefer tall men.
But
because
you're
it
the one
marks
using Evo
masculinity.
Psych. What do you mean? You're the one using Evo Psych. So the thing is like if
How
we're
did I
talking
know? How did I not
if we're
think that?
talking
I'm so
about
defeated.
surveys, if we're talking
Andrew,
about
did it again.
we're talking about surveys. Well, it's always easy with you, Erudite. But if we're
Utterly
talking about
demolished,
surveys,
true.
a moose can't tell you why. A moose can't tell you why they prefer the moose with big antlers. But men and women can tell you why they prefer these things. That's the distinction.
Okay. Hold on. My bad. Then I completely concede the point. I didn't know that. Can you show me the survey you have where women said that they prefer tall men because they want to get dominated? I'll wait for that. Once you, because that's
every
you win the
aspect of
Oh
their
argument.
my
life.
God,
Yeah,
you don't
let
need
me
a
ask you
survey.
that.
This is why you guys suck so much.
Oh,
You
so
talk
now
about-
the survey doesn't
No,
matter.
you don't.
Now the
You don't
data
need a
doesn't
survey.
matter.
Ask
Oh,
any
okay.
woman. Ask
Okay.
anyone.
Look, when
Okay,
the data agrees
now
with
the
me,
data doesn't
it's
matter.
very valid, and you science boys
Oh,
should
it's
like
so
it. But now
ridiculous.
that it
We have to
doesn't
look up
agree
data.
with me,
Why do women like
science is a
Gotcha.
joke.
My bad. Okay. I
Why
thought you
do
were
men
making an
like
argument.
breasts? Do you need a study on why men like breasts, Destiny? Why do men like breasts?
I don't know. You tell me.
I
What's
actually
attractive about them?
I don't, probably because again it's a difference in species between it's a sexually dimorphic difference
Okay, and
between
what
men and
is
women.
the
So you're
difference that it signals? What is the difference between a
it
man's
literally
chest
does
and a
not
woman's
single
chest?
it does not single anything.
It signals, wait,
Yeah,
all it
you would
signals
think that
is
because you're fucking
female.
gay.
Wait,
The
all it
problem
signals
Destiny,
is
Grace,
female.
Grace, hold on. Wait,
Grace,
Grace,
signal-
what do you think, Grace? What do you think?
Nurturing, literal feeding of children,
No,
femininity,
Grace.
So Destiny, the number
Grace,
one,
That's
the
what
number
it
one
signals
reason,
to.
the number one reason
Grace,
given in these
Grace,
surveys
Grace,
is because
Grace,
they feel
Grace,
more
Grace,
protected by them.
Grace, that's